Edmund Lee said, you must surround yourself with the dreamers and the doers, the believers and the thinkers.
Yeah, brother. So I wanted to get you on here. First off, thanks for being on here, man. I appreciate you doing this. I know you're super busy. But we've got this upcoming event, and there's a lot of people, that are going to be back. They saw you speak 2 years ago at our event. You were by far one of the most powerful speakers that we've ever had inside of our community. But I think you already know that. I mean, you impact people all over the world all the time. And I just want, for the people that haven't been to the event, I want to give them the opportunity to get to know you a little bit, to understand kind of why it is that I've asked you to come speak, just simply because, you're not a real estate guy, but you are you live life at such a high level, and you do so much, and you inspire so many people that I really want them to kind of get the opportunity to get to know you a little bit. So let's just spend 10 to 15 minutes and just kind of talk about it a little bit.
I buy real estate.
But it's not your business. You totally, I got it. Yeah.
No, I'm saying, are you coming there because someone's going to sell me some real estate, Kent?
No.
All right. By the way, I am an amazing consumer because I pay full retail. I've always been, I'd rather spend my time on other stuff trying to save 10 or 15%. So I recognize that whatever I spend every year, I probably pay 10 to 20% more than I should have or could have. But the time that I get back from not going back and forth, allows me to do so much more that I think the ROI comes back in a different way. So I've always been, I don't know. I just, I try to get a good deal, but I'm not someone that tries to beat you up on every penny. I never have been.
I'm actually the same way. I realize value, and if I can get to the end result quicker, that's much more important to me, from compressing time, right?
Right.
And that is much more important to me than the nickels and dimes I can save on something.
Yeah, I mean, not to get sidetracked, but like if I have on small projects, let's say I have a gardener at my property, at my house, and they quote me something, and I don't get 10 different quotes on something like that, and then go through all of it and interview. I'm just like, fine, do it, do a great job, do the best job. You're paying me, if I'm paying this much, make it the best. And then, but big projects, obviously, I'm getting multiple opinions. Listen, time is my most important thing. I'm trying to streamline my time and pick my battles. And being an entrepreneur, whether you're in real estate or anything else, it's all about getting from A to B the fastest, speeding up the process. If you can figure out how to speed up the process, and who is the person that can get you the most referrals, who is the customer that you can service the hell out of that can get you 10 more doors open, that's where you focus your energy. And it's always been for me about part of the process is about speed. And that's regardless of whether you're in real estate or selling a widget, it's about speed. And how do you get to A to B faster? What partnership, what person, what platform can give you the information or the route to get to the finish line the fastest?
Dude, I think it's the perfect segue, because I think, for everybody on here that doesn't actually know a lot about Jesse and hasn't read necessarily his bio and all of our emails, the bottom line is Jesse's a serial entrepreneur, wildly successful, with Marquee Jets, Zico Water. He's the part owner of the Atlanta Hawks. His wife is Sarah Blakely, who's the founder and CEO of Spanx. He is a New York Times bestseller with Living with a Seal, which is honestly one of the best books I've ever read. I recommend it every day. He's the author of, right, Living with the Monks. And so, which is the book we gave out to all of our attendees at our last event because I loved it so much. And so a lot of what, especially when in Monks, a lot of what you talk about in that book and what you learn there is exactly what we're talking about here, right? Is the value of actually time, what really matters versus what is just all the noise and bullshit that goes on out there that is just that, right? I mean, it's become a philosophy for you, right? So it's just the way you are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think everybody knows time is valuable and it's our most important asset. But to me, it's our relationship with time. It's how we see time. And I've used this example before, but I think it really sums it up. It's like, you know, my parents are on their way right now. They're in a car right now to my house from Florida. My parents are 88 years old. And if my parents live 4 more years, 5 more years, you know, let's just say 5 years. I hope they live 20, but let's just say they live 5 years. And I see them twice a year. I don't have 5 years with them. I don't have 1,500 days. I have 10 visits with them. I see them twice a year. They live 5 years. I have 10 visits. So each one of those visits becomes critical. It becomes way more important. That relationship with time, everybody knows time goes fast. Everybody knows time's valuable. It's like, what do you do with it? So how many real estate meetings are you going to have this year? How many houses or properties are you going to see? When you start to look at it through that lens, each one of those becomes critical and more important, how you handle them. So that's what I mean by our relationship with time. It's like I'm almost living at a manic pace. There's so much I want to do with my life. I want to do this much and I have this much time. So I have to say no to the things that don't move the needle in the buckets that get me there. And it's like, you know, like if you're in real estate, you're in business, whatever you're doing, it's a very simple formula. It's like you have to sell product. If you're an entrepreneur, you make product and you sell product. Period. Make it, sell it. Make it, sell it. All these other bullshit meetings, all these other like, oh, I had a meeting with so-and-so. Who cares? The only thing that matters is, did you sell your shit or not?
Right.
Like that's how this thing works. If that's what you're focused on. So the time is important because it's like you eliminate the stuff that doesn't move the needle in the most important buckets of your life. Business is only one of those buckets for me. My family is the other bucket. My wellness is the other bucket. And then I have like, you know, other things, charity, my friends, the things that are important to me. But like, if it doesn't fit into that scheme, I don't mess with it, man. I don't have time for it anymore. I did in my 20s. I don't in my 50s.
So the benefit, I mean, for everybody that's watching, I mean, I'm going to try to put a bow on it and help people. The bottom line is, because the questions that people ask me, and I'm sure they ask you all the time, is how do you manage the family? How do you create balance? How do you know what to walk away from? How do you know? That's it. What you're talking about. I mean, when you have that kind of clarity, those decisions become pretty damn clear, right?
Yeah, I mean, they do. You still need a plan and you still need a process. So for me, I know people are here. We have a short amount of time. You want nuggets. You want actionable takeaways. That's why you're tuned in right now. You want to leave this little chat between Mr. Clothier and myself and leave with stuff. So here you go. My day, that is all true. Say no to stuff, but my day starts the night before. Today, here we are today on Friday. It started Thursday night when I mapped out. Here it is. Here it is. I don't know if you can see it, but here it is on my board. 8 o'clock, 6:45 meeting. 8 o'clock, my workout. Boom, podcast. It's all laid out. I'm just following the script. Like, we don't have time to wing it anymore. You can't wake up and be like, oh man, what am I going to do today? Like, the best CEOs in the world have multiple assistants that when they walk in, they hand them a piece of paper and everything is mapped out. We don't have 3 or 4 assistants. We have us. So it starts the night before by mapping it out. You know, that's like the first step of the process of getting it done. The second part of the process is like, you are going to be out of balance. Like, I feel overwhelmed too. I have 4 kids under the age of 10. I have parents that are elderly. I have a wife. I have multiple businesses, and I want to do it all, right? So like, you're going to feel overwhelmed. The first thing I do is I communicate with my wife, and I tell her, right now I'm training for massive race called the Last Man Standing in September. I told my wife, I sat her down, my whole family, I'm going to be way out of balance for 4 months. Not forever, not forever, but I have a really big goal. Same if I have a new business. I'm going to be out of whack for a little while. First, I let them know so there's no guilt or resentment. And so they're rooting for me and they understand it. And they're not putting pressure on me because I'm not always with them at dinner or something like that. And that pressure and resentment crushes a lot of dreams. So I eliminate that out of the gate. And then, I'm aware of like whatever my goal is. In this case, if it's selling real estate, you have a property, you have to raise money, whatever it is, that becomes my lifestyle. It's not a chore. It doesn't suck. It's just my lifestyle for the duration of time until that is accomplished. And that's sort of the way that I work it into my daily habits. Like it just becomes part of my lifestyle. I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad when I get rejected and I don't sell a property or whatever it is. It's part of the journey until the finish line is there. And that's the way I've always kind of approached it. Like that goal is unwavering. That movie in my head never changes. The end of the sale, the getting the investor, it never changes. The script changes. The plot changes. But the end of the movie, it's the same thing with writing a book. The book's out and it's a bestseller. I just got to write it now. And that's where the plot twist comes. But the bestseller, I'm just filling in the blanks.
Dude, I love that.
It's true.
You know what?
But Ken, it's deep, deep, deep visualization and a deep emotional connection to the outcome.
Yeah. What you just, a lot of stuff, what you just said really, really kind of hit me hard because there's a lot of things that I do that I've never really kind of put to words like that. And it's just so true. When somebody asks you, and I know you get asked the same thing because I get asked this all the time, how do you get to these, how do you achieve these things, whatever those things are. And you just mapped it out. That is exactly what's going on in my head. More times than not, like I clearly see where I'm going. I may not understand exactly how I'm going to get there. I may not understand exactly what the path is going to be, but I clearly see the outcome over in whatever that goal is. It is a foregone conclusion. And I think that's really, really powerful.
I just want to make this clear to everybody listening because I think it's like it gets misunderstood. There's a big difference between a dream and visualization. A dream is like you say, like, I want to sell this mansion. I got this property. I want to sell it. I'm not in real estate, so I'm just trying to put it in. I know I have this property and I'm going to sell it. That's a dream. Visualization is like you taste the wire being sent. You taste and visualize the feeling of accomplishment when you sell the property. You are aware of the ups and downs of the struggles, but it doesn't matter because you're so emotionally attached to selling this. That's your goal. It never that's a big, like, and you're in it. You're in it. You see it. You taste it. You feel it. I mean, just certain smells can trigger it. That is visualization. And a dream is just like, I'm going to sell this. Yeah. Nah, it doesn't work that way, man. You have to have it in your subconscious, in your DNA. And that's always the starting point. Now, there's a lot of stuff that has to happen. You have to, be a great salesperson. You have to, follow up. You have to show up. You have to be at every meeting. All that has to happen. But the starting point for me in anything, whether it's attracting my wife to come into my world, whether it's running a marathon, whether it's business, whether it's fighting the flu, it's all the same. I'm going to get better. I'm going to find the girl. I'm going to sell. I'm going to make this successful. It's the same formula. It's like reprogramming your head to believe it.
So people that aren't programmers, Jesse, how would you, if you were sitting down talking to somebody right now and saying, listen, in order to get to this place where this becomes natural for you or feels more natural for you, what would be the first steps that you would tell somebody? Because clearly you understand, just like I do, that not everybody can think like this, or they don't think.
First of all, I would make sure that person has a true passion. You have to want it for yourself. You have to really, really want it. Like I'll just share a story with you about this because this might sound a little hokey, visualization and stuff. So I just want to put it in. Let me frame it for everybody.
Yeah, totally.
I was with my sister about a while ago, and she had two friends, and they asked me what the number one secret to success was. And I said to myself, like, there's no number one thing. There's a lot of different things that are part of that puzzle, But I said, if you have to pick one thing from me, it's like, I've always really wanted it. And they all laughed. And the guy sitting at the table is like, I really wanted the promotion last year, but I didn't get it. And the other guy's like, yeah, I really wanted to win the lottery, but I didn't get it. And I'm like, well, you guys just don't understand. And I let it be. And a year later, I'm with my sister, and she's releasing a book, and she's so excited. And she's explaining to everybody, I'm like, Jill, how in the world did you do this book? Did you have any background in publishing? She's like, no. I'm like, marketing? She's like, no. Did you know anything about the industry? She's like, no. I'm like, well, how did you get the book done? She goes, well, her book was a coffee table book that required quotes from successful people, celebrities, entertainers, politicians. She had to amass all these quotes, and she had no contacts. So she's like, well, I woke up and I started calling publicists, and I got rejected by everybody. But I kept going, and then finally I got one person. It always starts with a story. You need to build on a story. Now she had a story. People buy into stories and momentum more than products. Amen. So now she had some momentum. She started calling and say, hey, so-and-so did this, would you do this? Then she got another. Then finally, after all this rejection, she had enough quotes. Then she went to the next chapter. She had to figure out how to put it in a book. And she did all the research and got all this rejection, finally found someone that would make the book. Then the book came out. Then she had to figure, and she's going through all this stuff, and it was ups and downs. And I'm like, how in the world did you overcome all these obstacles? You didn't know anything. She goes, I don't know. I wanted this book to come out so bad. I just really wanted it. And I'm like, you see, remember, getting chills thinking about it. A year ago when those jokers laughed at me, that's what I'm talking about. And that's the starting point. You can't want it for somebody else. You can't want it for your spouse or for your parents. You got to want it because you want to make it happen. That's the starting point for everything. You can't lose weight for somebody else. You have to do it because you want to do it. There's too much chocolate cake out there to do it for somebody else.
Bro, dude, that is gold. I love that. I love that. And it is so freaking true. How many people, oh God.
Now, it's not that simple. There's other layers on top of it. But that, to me, is the foundation of it, of the starting point of it all.
What happens is, to your point, is that when you are so passionate about something, then each obstacle where that could easily be viewed as failure or a place to stop or whatever the case may be, right? Because inevitably you're going to get hit. You're going to get rejected. You're going to get knocked down.
All the time.
But it doesn't feel like that when you're passionate about it. It's just a step, right?
It's like this. It's like if your passion and your desire for the goal is greater than the obstacles, you have a good chance of winning. If the obstacles are greater than your fucking want, you're done. So that's, to me, that's always been the start. And like I said, there is a laundry list of things that have to happen on top of that. But without that, in the long term, I don't love your chances.
Right.
And conversely, I love the chances if that want, desire, and drive, because that's what drive comes from, is there. I really like your chances, regardless of your experience, regardless of the failures to date, regardless of what you don't know or who you don't know. It doesn't matter. You'll figure it out if you want it bad enough.
Amen, baby. Amen. Well, I know you're, I don't want to take too much of the time, but I want to be sensitive to it, but I also
We're just warming up here.
I'm not wrapping up. I'm just making sure that I'm sensitive. You're a busy guy, and I don't want to crush you here. What are you working on right now that I know you got a ton of stuff going on. I see it, but I want to. What are you working on right now that you're really excited about? What's the 2929? All that kind of stuff.
I have so much that I want to do in so little time. And I feel so grateful for the opportunity. We're healthy, knock on wood. We got the average American lives to be 78. I've heard me talk about this. If I'm average, I got 20. I just turned 50. I got 27 summers. there's a lot. I love summers, and there's a lot I want to do in those next 27 years. So I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the past. Like I don't wear marquee jet hats anymore. I don't wear the Zico stuff. I mean, I can't change it. Can't change it. The good and the bad. My window is from today to 80. That's my new scorecard. That is my frame. And I'm excited about all the opportunities that I have. I'm excited about raising my kids and watching them learn. I'm excited about the business opportunities that I have. I just bought a chewing gum company that I'm about to announce. I'll announce it at the event.
Wow.
I'll actually walk everybody why I bought it and what the white space was. Because I think that might be really helpful for people to see, like, chewing gum. Why would you do that? I'm going to explain exactly why I did that. And I think it'll really freak people out when I start to storytell what I think the white space is there. I'm excited about this coaching program I have called Build Your Life Resume. I have a documentary, a book, and I'm doing a book that I'm doing. Like, I just want to live, man. I'm excited about being alive. And I'm excited about just how much opportunity that gives me. And that has nothing to do with money. That has nothing to do with where I am in my life. That has to do with pure gratitude for the opportunity that I have. I had the same opportunity. I had the same gratitude and the same appreciation when I slept on 18 different couches between the ages of 19 to 22. 18 different couches I slept on trying to figure out my way and make it in the music business. But the outlook was always the same. And that's how I feel today, 30 years later.
Dude, your enthusiasm for life is so contagious, man. You got my heart over here racing. And I feel like I'm a pretty pumped up guy, but I mean, it's so contagious to be when I hear you speak and what you've got going on in life, because it's just true. I mean, I say it to people a lot that there are so many people that are so focused on what they don't have versus what they do, or whatever. They're bitching about they're playing kind of that victim role. And there are plenty of victims in the world without people unnecessarily acting like a victim. And the fact that you are where you are in life and at the stage you are in your life, and it would be so simple to take your foot off the gas, and it is the furthest thing from who you are, is just really, really inspiring and very contagious, dude.
I appreciate it.
I'm so grateful to know you. I'm so grateful to be inspired by you. I'm so grateful that you're coming out to the event, because it's just, I mean, it means the world.
Yeah. I want to say one thing. I know I don't know how much time we have, but I just wanted to say the fundamental change for me from when I was young to where I am now is that when I was young, I had a high tolerance for aggravation. So if something was high aggravation, but high reward, I would do it because I wanted the high reward. So if that meant I had to show up at all these property showings and there were 50 rejections and it was super aggravating, but I knew the reward would be there. As you get older, and you probably feel this too, it's all about low aggravation and high reward. Yep. And that's where I focus my time and energy. Like, what's give me, and that has to do with people, relationships, businesses, everything. I want low aggravation and high reward. If something's high aggravation, even if the reward's high, I really don't want to do it at this stage. And that's been the big shift from when I was younger and hustling to when I'm
good point, man. That's a really good point.
Yeah, I mean, and look at people that get older. There's a commonality amongst our elders, and that's where the wisdom comes, right? You want good advice, you go talk to your parents or people that have gone through it all. 100%. And what is the one thing that most people do? Almost everybody, virtually everybody, as they get older, they simplify.
Yep.
They want to do less. They want to have, it's not about the airplanes and the Rolls Royces and all the stuff you see on Instagram. It's about doing more of what you love to do with the people you love to do them with. And as you get a little bit, and the earlier you understand that, I'm not saying don't make money. I'm a capitalist just like everybody else. But I'm saying these are the fundamental shifts that happen. The earlier that you recognize the importance of doing more of what you love to do with the people you love to do them with, and you put more on your plate and you experience, what happens is you become more interesting. You become more interesting for your customers, for your clients, for your investors. You become a lightning rod. It's attractive. You have more empathy. You have more patience. And at this stage in my life, and I'll leave the group with this, you know, it's still about building my life resume. You know, I have my work, I have my responsibilities, but I don't lose track of the fact that I want to experience, I want to live, I want to tie that into my work. It's all part of the same thing. And everybody with the message, you know, like work, 31 hours, you know, 27 hours a day and blah, blah, blah. That's cool. But there's another side to this. There's a personal side to business, you know, and all of my business success, I got a 980 on my SAT. All of my business success is because it's person to person. Like I said, people buy into people more than product. You are the business plan. And the more interesting you become, the more you do, the more you experience, the better you're going to be at business. The more frustrated you are because you've given away your life, the more resentment you have. It comes through in your sales meeting. It comes through in your investor meetings. It comes through in your culture at your work. So, you know, here you are in San Diego, you get the chance. And even if you didn't have the nice house that you have, it's free to walk along the beach. It's free to jump in the freezing cold ocean. It's free to run the local 5K. It's free to go and in all the events that they have in the libraries. And all that stuff is free. And a lot of that stuff is the stuff that makes you feel the most alive. A lot of the stuff is the stuff that you can share with customers. What'd you do today, Kent? Oh, man, I went in a polar plunge. Well, tell me about it. Next thing you know, you're in a conversation, inviting that person. Now you're linked up for life because you have an experience with them. You don't think they're going to buy from you? That's how it's worked for me. That's been my secret sauce. It's that connection, whatever business you're in. And I think it gets lost. It gets lost in translation. And you got to work all these hours. You got to do all this stuff. You do. But there's another side of it that brings a human element into the business, into the life that's so important.
So freaking true, dude. So true. I mean, you said it. People, every business boils down to the people, and people do business with people that they like and trust, and that they want to be around, and that are well,
or that are interesting, or that have right, exactly.
They're well-rounded. They're people that you're compelled, that you're attracted to, and you want to be around. Period. I mean, it just is what it is. I couldn't have said it better, dude. I mean, I'm like I said earlier, I'm so stoked that you're going to be out here.
We're going to light them up, man.
I cannot wait.
We're going to light them up. We're going to because you know what? We're going to give people tools. Amen. We're going to give people tools so when they leave, they're like, man, this is worth admission. I want my session to be worth the price of admission. I want that. I mean, that's what, when I go into something, it's like, my session's got to be worth the price of admission.
Well, I will absolutely tell everybody, period, that it'll be, the ROI on admission will be 10 times just out of your session, right? But just simply because, like I said, I've invited the guys and girls that I've learned the most from over the last few years. And yeah, we call it the scale and escape. And yeah, it's about scaling, but it is about two things. One, it's about scaling the business so that two, you can escape it, so that you have the option, so that you can live the life, that you can do the things that actually really matter. You can, go spend the time the way it's actually supposed to be spent, not be a slave to a business, backing yourself into a corner and losing sight of all the things that really matter. I mean, the same kind of lessons that you just outlined are some of the same lessons I've had to learn the hard way over I'm turning 50 this year. So, I mean, we have a very similar kind of, I guess, epiphany that you get to this place and you're like, dude, I know what hard work looks like. I know what it looks like, but at the end of the day, I also know what it looks like to have a much more balanced, cool life where I'm raising my kids. I get to, I've created those situations where all the right things are in place. And I think that's everybody that's watching this is why you need to be at the event, period. Just simply because this is not, the tactics are going to come in, but the reality of it is this is a chance for you to come in, hear from somebody like Jesse that plays it at such an elite level, not just in the business side, but in all sides, and understand what really matters when you're putting this shit together. Because it is, and I know you agree with me, it's a hamster wheel, right? It's tricky. You can absolutely go put together a business the wrong way, and before you know it, the business owns your ass. And that isn't a business, baby. That's just a job. And that's what we hope everybody avoids. And that's the point of the event. I love it, man. Thank you for doing this with me. I know you're pressed. I know I've got my next one right behind as well. I'm going to see you in a couple months. I can't wait to see you. Can't hang out with you. Thank you very much for hanging out today, dude. Thanks
for thinking of me and including me with your community. And I look forward to it, man. It's always good to see you. So I'm excited about it. And, I've gotten to know your family really well. And I'm just happy to be invited, man. Happy to be there.
Thank you, brother. I'll see you in a couple weeks or a few
Okay,
weeks.
I hope everybody enjoyed it.